Hey there, good evening from the UK. Gary Turner here, founder of HEXO Change. I hope you're doing well, and also good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are on this planet we call Earth today. Doing something pretty different today. Actually, I'm hoping it's going to be quite clarifying for me, and maybe even for you if you're watching this live or you're watching this back at some point in the future. So the whole point of this video is actually for me to express what 2022 and beyond for HEXO Change is going to look like. So for those that may know me, I have a full-time job, very grateful for that. I enjoy many elements of that, working in the corporate space and the sales and marketing of chemicals globally, 3.5 billion turnover corporation. I look after 20 million of that. So I'm deeply in the corporate space, but I also have a big passion for helping to co-create and develop just organizations that are going to last the test of time. So I'm really weaving those two things together in a way that is meaningful for me, but also meaningful for all these different stakeholders in my life. So what I'm about to share is the vision, and also give you a bit more of an insight as to what else is available, how we might be able to work together, loads of different types of resources that are already available. So really looking to really bring everything together in an integrated way, signpost that for you and for me as we go into 2022. As one of the funniest things is many people say to me, how the heck, Gary, do you do as much as you do? And yeah, I think it can be quite confusing and not always clear as to what I'm up to all of the time. So that's partly what this is about. It's an unusual experience for me because I'm very much the person in the background, pushing and uplifting other people to the foreground. But this one is really just about clarifying myself, HEXO Change, and how this part of who I am as a whole human being is looking to manifest in 2022. So I'm going to share my screen. I won't see you for a while now, as I'm going to share a good old trusty PowerPoint. And I'm going to take you through HEXO Change, transformational change practice, which is very much about helping, as I've already mentioned, hold space for emergence and also to facilitate the next generation of life-giving organizational design through holding space for reconnection to ourselves, to one another, and to systems at large in a really meaningful way, centering those that are often not thought about, not considered, and indeed can actually be oppressed by our Western models. So quite a lot in this, and it's really coming through three key themes. What you can see on the screen right now is in the center is the key HEXO offering. What we're talking about here, this is really the money generating business. There's a heck of a lot of any operating results will be going towards contracting indigenous wisdom to help support me and to help support us with developing these next generation of organizational design that will allow us to stand the test of time, because we'll actually be using that indigenous wisdom to co-create, again, paying for them to support us with developing life-giving organizational structures. A couple of the offers, I'll come on to the specific offers that I'm involved in as part of that HEXO business model. Also alongside that is the HEXO events. I'll talk a little bit about those, and also HEXO Talks. So there's three key strands really to the HEXO Change transformational practice, and I'll just take you through a little bit of those. But before I dive into that, I want to actually give you a little bit of a testimonial. So it's easier sometimes for other people to let you know about me than for me to tell you about me. So what I'm about to share with you here is an amazing human, one part of a tech startup called Equip, who are a DEI startup. And my role there was offering really support as a strategic advisor and also a thinking partner for the co-founders. So let me just let you know how I added value according to Miriam Lahaj. That's just a little bit about how I'm really looking to work with mission-driven startups, scale-ups, senior leaders, excos of progressive corporations, those that know in their body that the ways that they're operating are maybe outdated, or they're really not as inclusive as they could be, or indeed they're just not really joining the dots of their full supply chain up and downstream, something that I'd really be able to support with. So that's the thinking advisor and strategic thinking partner and strategic advisor for that particular subset. So tech startups, new business startups, scale ups, and progressive organizations looking to change their ways. What I'm now looking at here is more of a one-to-one offering support for those solopreneurs, smaller business owners that are really looking for that support from somebody that's got over 20 years of international commercial experience, a deep understanding of people, culture, and systems developed over the last 5 years, and someone that's really deeply embedded and keen to support the next generation of business and SME develop more in line with nature's systems in a way that is that honors just relationships up and down the supply chain. So let me tell you a little bit. This is Paul McCarthy, the founder of Fired Leadership, and here's what he gained and took away from our time working together. So Paul McCarthy offering some feedback there as to how I can serve you as a solopreneur or an independent business owner. And the great thing is, and I'm really grateful to Paul for working with me over those 5 1-hour sessions, because it's not easy trying to bring something new into the world, something very much through embodiment and holding space for emergence. We don't come together. I don't work with you. I don't support you and serve you following a particular structure or a particular program. It's very much about holding space and allowing you to think for yourself as yourself without interruption, whilst also interlacing my wisdom, my understanding of the world, and this increasing embodiment of a truly holistic global understanding of systems, which I continue to benefit from by investing myself in my spiritual guide and others in the global south and beyond. So the other offer as part of the HEXO key business is as a workshop facilitator, and also supporting you with and serving you with people-centered organizational design. Now, in some of these areas, I ran some workshops with PA Consulting, one of the top 5 consulting firms. The feedback offered there was Gary came and delivered a great half-day workshop for the talent acquisition team at PA. We had a couple of briefings beforehand, and he delivered a workshop that met the brief, demonstrating that he had really listened to what was needed and wanted. He was engaging, informative, and the team bought into his style, delivery, and messaging. I would highly recommend Gary and his organization. And another one is from managing director of my current corporate organization, IMCD Group. What a positive energy and what a great personality. I've had the honor to invite Gary Turner during our task force meeting for a hackathon session. Beyond his enormous positive energy, he manages to create a great safe atmosphere using his own unique way. With asking the right questions, Gary manages to make a new, surprising structure within our task force. I've learned that reliability, honesty, empathy, and humor are only some of the ingredients of his success. It is really a great pleasure to recommend Gary. So these are just 2 examples, both corporate examples. And what was fascinating for me as somebody coming in to support both of these people and organizations is that they were open-minded, they're open-hearted to believe there was another way, not necessarily the best way, but a better way. And this was all about co-creation. And again, using that emergence, using the like creating space for those people in the room to contribute, to reimagine, and I just use my multinational understanding of sales, relationship building, and systems, culture, and people to help those people in the room weave the next version of what good looks like for them, and indeed helping them move to great indeed. So that's the workshop facilitation piece. So I've spoken about strategic advisor and thinking partner for mission-driven startups, scale-ups, and progressive organizations, strategic advisor and thinking partner for solopreneurs and individuals wanting to step into their power, and also this piece around people-centered organizational design and as a workshop facilitator. So that's really the backbone, that's the business end, I would say, of HEXO as a transformational change practice. So the other part as well, I also offer Keynote Talks, virtual or in person. Got a whole range of different talks that I'm able to offer. And again, a lot of this is all about embodiment. It's actually storytelling and adding value through my own lived experience. So I've actually been looking at some new talks today. Some I've already delivered in the past around change being an inside job, waking up from sleep, walking through life, navigating and embracing paradox is a new one, a really important one. I delivered a similar talk at Yatunde Hoffman's Enjoyable Life series a couple of weeks ago. The invitation to live our whole experience through embracing vulnerability and embodying systemic awareness. These are key talks that I'm delivering. I'm looking to deliver more in 2022. So if any of those resonate with you, if you're interested in really stepping into that more vulnerable emergent space, I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to come and tailor a talk. They're themes, but I can tailor a talk based on your context. So do reach out and let me know if we can set up a conversation around that. So some feedback. Again, the head of technology from IMCD America shared when I delivered some previous talks and workshops. Gary's facilitation and presentation to our employee groups was simply top notch. A dynamic and passionate speaker with extraordinary knowledge around the people dimension resulted in extremely successful sessions. Sylvia Lopez shared when I was at Hacking HR with Nuria Rojo. I had the privilege to attend Gary's brief but intense speech around the last Hacking HR event recently held in Zurich. Well articulated and to the point, his presentation reminded us of the importance of simplicity and vulnerability to become better leaders. Looking forward to your next insightful talk. And Benjamin Hero shared Gary is a truly genuine person that is able to deliver a powerful impact to anybody. I highly recommend Gary to any organization and institution that wishes to onboard a speaker that is not afraid to speak from the heart. So if Keynote Talks, virtually or in person, around any of those areas I've described could be interesting for you going into 2022, I would love to hear from you. And this very much falls under the HEXO Talks part of the transformational practice. And all of this weave together, why does HEXO Change exist? What is coming through this embodiment? And this is not just me, by the way. This is not just me as Gary Turner. The desire here is I've got a global network of amazing human beings that all work in different parts, in consultancy, within corporations. And I'm really looking to try and bring and weave this experience, this cross-sector, cross-functional insight and wisdom through HEXO Change as a transformational practice which will center just relationships for collective well-being. And how we do that is through holding space, as I've described many, many times, and through facilitating the reconnection to ourselves, one another, and to systems at large, serving you with reimagining and co-creating the next generation of life-giving organizational design. So there's two key themes here. There's very much a corporate lens, very intentionally, because that's I believe we can make a big shift towards solving our social injustice, environmental challenges, and indeed our workplace dysfunctions through the workplace. I totally believe that. I know there's amazing human beings at every level of organization in every corner that really want to be part of this, but it's not always easy to find their voice. It's not always easy to find a way to step up, show up, and be that full, unashamed, bright, whole version of themselves. As one of my fantastic coaches, Nilofer Merchant, and her work Holiness speaks about, that spot in the world that only we stand. How do we unleash that for every single human being so that we can not only develop brilliant, healthy businesses, but ones that are in just relation, ones that actually serve every part of humanity, those that include those too often not thought about in our global supply chains today, quite often oppressed, dominated, and even with experiencing genocide in parts of the world just that we can have our Western lives. That's an intentional part of the design. And I invite us to really get brave and start exploring that as part of this transformational change practice, which is HEXO Change. So on to some of the other things that are happening in 2022, which I'm super excited about. One is across the 5th, 6th and 7th of April 2022, I'll be hosting my first executive retreat. And I'll be co-hosting this with my amazing friend and colleague and co-liberator is in Joe Homstead, founder of Connect Up. This will be held at the beautiful Hefflington House. It's where we held the first human development space across September, across the 6th and 7th of September 2021. Finally, after a few years of false starts due to the pandemic, we finally came together, 13 of us. I'll come on to that shortly. But this is an opportunity for a maximum of 8 executive leaders, CEOs, CFOs, Chief Human Resource Officers, senior leaders, no matter the size of your organization, but we're really targeting cross-sectorial, cross-functional, in an amazing space with 170 acres of woodland, lakes, on-site accommodation, great food, and just freedom of space to express, freedom of space to reimagine, freedom of space to connect in a way that I'm sure that you do not have that space and time and energy to allow yourself to do in the busyness of your senior roles. This is an opportunity to reimagine the connection to yourself, to other people that you may or may not have met, and indeed to the systems at large that we're all part of, and that we are that basically give life to every single one of us, and will do to our families and the next generations, and all things non-human as well. And why this is so important is this VUCA world is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So what I and Joe are looking to do is to offer this beautiful opportunity again for maximum 8 only senior leaders, executive committee members to come together, ideally across sector and across function, although we would consider one organization, but ideally cross sector, cross function across the 5th, 6th and 7th of April 2022. There's going to be a primate enrichment opportunity. The location is very close to Monkey World in Dorset, towards the southwest coast of the UK, and it's just this. It's an incredibly energetic, beautiful space. And I invite you, if you're curious, to drop me a line or drop Joe Homstead a line. Let's have a conversation. We can talk a little bit more about this, but the agenda will be co-created by you. We'll be there to hold space. We'll be there to facilitate, to use our over 40 years of deep business systems, culture and people expertise and commerciality to support you and hold space for you as you reimagine those different connections to yourself, others and systems at large. Whether that's you reimagining a new business model, whether that's you actually wanting to step into your vulnerability, doesn't matter where you want to go, we'll hold space for you to step into that in community with up to 8 senior leaders across sector and across function. That opportunity exists. $5,000 per person for the all-inclusive, for the full experience. It will change your life. The last time we came together, the 13 of us, in September, it's changed many lives already by having those 2 days together. Having these 3 days together, allowing yourself to deeply connect yourself, others and systems at large, I assure you, will transform your life. And I really hope you allow yourself and give yourself permission to experience this. So that's one thing that's coming up as part of HEXO events. Something else that's super exciting is we also have the next human development space across the 20th and the 21st of July, 2022. This is going to be an incredible experience. Again, I've got a couple of people's feedback. You can see some of the pictures here, those that stayed overnight on site. Those that will stay overnight on site, again, as part of the executive retreat, will get this benefit. Wood fire, log fire, beautiful experience, open air. Just honestly, I can't explain it enough. You really have to feel this for yourself. There's the lakes that you can see, the outside space, that's the country home in the bottom right. This is what one of the people shared that attended the human development space in September 2021. Thank you, everyone, for an exceptional couple of days. It was wonderful learning from each other through such an organic process. It has really helped shift some of my thinking. I feel more centered, and it gave me clarity for my next steps, all within just 2 days. One other person shared, it's just been such a wonderful 2 days, rich, powerful discussions, wonderful connection, deep learning. Next July can't come around quickly enough. This opportunity exists for a maximum 30 people. Like I say, we had 13 in September 2021. because the space is just so beautiful, so exceptional, so freeing, and really gives you that freedom to reimagine, again, that connection to yourself, your next business plan, co-collaborators, whatever's on your heart and mind. This will be a safe, brave space to feel into that, to step into that, to co-create with like-minded and like-hearted peers, but in a way that is constructive and is looking to really make your dent, that next level of your dent on the world. This space will create that for you. But it's maximum 30 people. That's it. We're going to cap it at that. The space is, it's possible to have up to 80, but we just know how intimate and how powerful the experience was to be able to share openly, transparently, and from the heart, vulnerably, and then as we co-created whatever was going to come next. The agenda, again, collaborations, going for walks and talks around the grounds in, singles, duos, triads, whatever you need from that experience, we'll hold space and create and facilitate that for you. Okay. So that's available. Again, if you're interested, drop myself a note or drop Joe a note. It's maximum £500 per person for this particular event, and that would include accommodation on the first night coming through on the 19th. You would then also have accommodation on the 20th, and you have 2 full days on the 20th and the 21st. So do let me know, should that be interesting for you as well. Something else is brand new. This is a new idea, really looking to try and build some community, again, cross-functional, cross-sectorial, and it's what I'm calling dreaming. And it's a slight play on the word dreaming, but really what we're talking about here is DERE and AIM. So it's decentering ourselves, as I mentioned earlier on. It's centering those people, those communities most oppressed, most dominated by our Western ways in all of our design, in everything that we do. It's also around degrowth. So actually, how do we move away from this obsessive overconsumption paradigm? How do we reimagine something new in line with nature's systems in a way that's more connected, again, to ourselves, others, and systems at large, so we actually sustain life and we give life, and that we don't actually destroy it? The other part of that, there is regenerating the human spirit. Everybody's so tired, everyone's so exhausted, everyone's so disconnected to themselves, others, and systems. That is what we've been brought up in. This modernity-based system is all about disconnection. This space is around building community so we can share stories, share connection, and find ways to connect to ourselves in a more meaningful way, such that we regenerate our human spirit and then go out into the world and do our worldly work. We're also talking here about rewilding our thinking, rewilding our beliefs, rewilding how we relate to one another, ourselves and systems. Getting curious, getting constructively challenging, getting brave, but all being held within this dream space that we will co-create and be facilitated together. And then we're also looking at AIM, which is the key part here, which is what many communities sadly miss, is the action piece. So actually, how do we take action individually and collectively? This space is about helping you do that as well. So it's DRE-AIM, dreaming is what we're looking to do in this community. And again, we'll do it virtually, we'll do it in person, but it's all feeding this whole ecosystem. It's all part of the same thing. It's all about personal transformation. It's all about organizational transformation, so that we increasingly design in line with nature's systems, so that we become a life-giving force and not one that's extracting life. So onto the content piece, as I start to move towards the end of this conversation with myself and with you. Hopefully you're getting some value. And I hope you're getting curious as well and thinking, wow, this could be really interesting. I really want to be part of this emergence, part of this energy. So part of the HEXO Talks offer here, this is really the content piece. So the Right Here, Right Now show has been going all of this year. We now have 55. I think this is the 55th conversation, which will take place on Thursday, the 23rd of December. It's myself, an amazing human, Cornell Thomas, one of my brothers from another mother, for sure. Thank you, Claude Silver, for connecting us. What an absolute gift that was. We're coming together. It's a special, talking about unplugging from the matrix. So come and have some fun, but also get really curious around what that might look like for you. 6:30 UK time, 1:30 Eastern. Yesterday, I was so excited that Zaina May very generously popped in. We had a beautiful hour's exploration live. It's a recorded. You can now record conversations on Clubhouse. And what Zaina and I are going to do is actually, we're going to run another experiment. Let's talk about systems. Let's talk about why we're not actually speaking up in the workplace and beyond. So these are 4 conversations that are coming up. You can see on January the 5th, Wednesday, January 5th, Dangerous Ideas was one of Zaina's ideas. Speaking up for the greater good. What are some of those things that we feel risky talking about, we feel afraid to talk about, but we want to talk about? What are the conditions? How do we support one another with speaking up? That's what we'll be talking about on January the 5th. We're then going to January the 11th. We'll be talking about unlocking our empowerment. How do we connect dots systemically within our own lives in a way that allows us to, from the inside out, step into our power, to find our voice, but also we've got way more agency, way more freedom to take action, to be a bit more activist within our local context than we believe we have. We want to explore that with you on the 11th of January. What we're also looking at then on the 25th of January, why would we not want to transform? This is a topic that came up with Zaina and I last night. Look at the flower. Look at trees. Like, they're continuously going through that cycle of life and decay and emergence and coming to life again. Why would we not want to transform? Is there privilege linked to not wanting to be comfortable? And actually, not everyone wants to be a leader. Not everybody wants to be changing the world. Maybe not. Or is that actually modernity suppressing people into that state? Who knows? Open exploration. Come and join us, 4 p.m. UK on the 25th of January to explore that with Zaina, myself, and anybody else that's in that space. And on Tuesday, the 1st of February, we'll be talking about hidden loyalties and unconscious impact. Again, what are some of those unconscious buys, unconscious choices, unconscious loyalties? How often do we say to ourselves, actually, no, that person's really looked after me, I'm going to stay with them, even though there could be a toxic relationship? So many, many different, deeply human, deeply systemic, the interweaves between all of that. Going big on Clubhouse again. Systemic leadership is the Clubhouse. There's 995 members of that club. Come and join us. Let's explore together, and let's do it with open hearts, open minds, in a way that we can really look to reimagine and co-create what comes next. It's going to be us that do that. We're not relying on governments to do that. It's going to be the next generation of life-giving corporations. It's going to be me, you, and us in community, really co-creating and reimagining what comes next. Then what else is also coming up in January is that we've got David Marquet. He's coming back, which is amazing. So author of Intent-Based Leadership and Leadership is Language. He'll be back for us to have a in the moment heart exploration of what's on his heart and mind right here, right now in the moment, on Monday the 10th of January at 3 p.m. UK. Then got the wonderful Virtue. I met Virtue. Gee, this woman is incredible. So she's just about to graduate with the high honours in anthropology, looking for a job in research, sales, maybe within the technology space or anywhere really, or marketing. She's just amazing human being, and she'll be joining me on Monday the 17th of January at 12 p.m. And this is someone that was volunteering at your 10-day Hoffman's Enjoyable Life series that I spoke at a couple of weeks ago. Amazing human being. Come and join us for that. Lucy Bramley, my co-host of the Inside Out show. We've got another awesome human, Laura Storm, author of Regenerative Leadership, alongside Giles Hutchins. I had her on the Value Through Vulnerability podcast, episode 94. We're so looking forward to where she's going to be, what's going on with her community. And indeed, I've signed up to be part of the 12-month Regenerators community in 2022. If you're interested in systems, interested in life-giving design, really curious about way beyond ESG, actually doing really, really meaningful remodeling of ourselves, systems, and those that are around us and organizations, you won't want to miss this conversation. Frank's new book Dreams coming out. I'm really looking forward to exploring that with him on Friday the 21st of January. Another wonderfully thoughtful human being. Jane Hazard Grant, my teacher, Nancy master coach, Nancy Klein, teacher I learned thinking environment with Jane. Stunning listener, amazing focus on dignity in the workplace and beyond. She'll be joining me on the 24th of January at 1 p.m. And just a reminder, really, there's these 2 resources that they're there for you in your favorite podcast platform. Value Through Vulnerability, 138 full episodes. If you're thinking about courage, vulnerability, mindset, diversity, equity, inclusion, well-being, 138 episodes, full episodes are there with a whole range of different people, different backgrounds, very diverse. In and outside of corporate, just so much rich exploration. I grew so much going through that process through 2.5 years, and I invite you to do the same. Another piece here as well is the Activating Consciousness podcast. I imagine this with Samantha Sapaya, my spiritual guide based in the Philippines. That started in February of 2021. What this is now becoming is actually quite a nice repurposed platform. So it's got 16 episodes of Activating Consciousness, but it also is the platform where we repurpose the right here, right now conversations, also the inside out conversations, and also I write a whole range of different blogs, poems, other writing and reflections. And when I record those to try and make sure that they're more accessible, they'll be on the YouTube channel. They'll also be on the Activating Consciousness podcast. So please do subscribe to Activating Consciousness, and then you can get kept up to date with all of these things as they emerge. There's also a YouTube channel, Gary Turner, HEXO Change. You can find that anywhere. And on there, you'll find a range of the online and offline speaking gigs that I've been part of, or where I've joined other people's podcasts. Also a whole range. There's also video versions of the right here, right now conversation, inside out conversation, vlogs, etc. And that is it. I didn't think it'd go that long. If you joined me, thank you. If you didn't, no worries. If you watch this back, thank you. This will also get repurposed on the Activating Consciousness podcast. But this is as much an opportunity for me to express what my intentions are for 2022. So I'll listen back to this. And if any of this is interesting for you, please do check out hexochangenow.com. Sign up to get regular updates on my writing, media plans, other developments. And yeah, that's it really. I hope you find some value in that. And I'm wondering if this worked and if you're still here. Oh, hello. There we are, nearly half an hour, but I hope you got some value if you watch this back. And thanks for joining me if you did, or if you watch it back. Let's get in contact. Take care for now. Cheers.